Against the backdrop of South Africa's constitutional democracy, the Municipal Demarcation Board, the MDB, has throughout its existence tirelessly committed itself to working with citizens, groups and communities to create functional and viable municipalities that provide decent quality services and meet the social and economic needs of all communities. As the MDB celebrates its 15th anniversary, it continues to seek meaningful contribution to the realization of spatial transformation in South Africa.
The work of the MDB over the years has contributed towards building an effective system of local government. And this has been evident in areas such as the integration of the previously fragmented communities, the rationalization of the total number of the municipalities, and the successful and regular holding of the local government election since 2000. The priorities of this board, the third board, has been to continue this special transformation agenda, namely that of special transformation as well as that of deepening local democracy. This has been achieved through our legislative mandate, which empowers us to demarcate municipal boundaries and to delimit municipal wards for purposes of local government elections. And the MDB prides itself that in carrying out its work, it has been able to achieve its successes, particularly through the public consultative processes, which were designed to be open, transparent, and inclusive. And in that way, the board has been able to ensure that all affected communities and stakeholders are able to participate in its processes.
Before 1994, there was an urgent need for appropriate spatial reorganization of the country. South Africa, as you know, was deeply divided, not only along racial, social, and economic lines, but also spatially. And this led to massive disparities in service access levels. Through the work of the Local Government Negotiating Forum, a framework was established, and this led to 9 provincial demarcation boards. And that process also led to the integration of apartheid spatial boundaries of 1,262 different local structures into 843 local authorities. Over time, these provincial boards evolved into a single independent board embodied in the Municipal Demarcation Act.
You'll note that when you look at the history of the MDB, initially the focus really has been that of rationalizing of the municipalities to ensure, amongst other things, geographic coherence and to develop municipal capacity in areas where there was none, but to also enable the sharing of resources and to create areas that are of manageable size that will enable functionality in terms of social integration, economic dependence, and shared transportation networks.
The board successfully rationalized the total number of municipalities from 843 to 283, and then down to 278. At one stage, the focus shifted to developing 6 metropolitan municipalities, including Greater Johannesburg, Cape Metro, Greater Durban, Greater Pretoria, the East Rand and Port Elizabeth. In addition, 47 district municipalities and 231 local municipalities were created.
Recently, the board has focused on the determination and redetermination of municipal boundaries, and it will soon be starting with the ward delimitation process for the purpose of the 2016 local government elections. It has been undertaking capacity assessment of municipalities, and over the years a further 2 metropolitan municipalities have also been established, namely Mangaung and Buffalo City. The number of district municipalities and local municipalities have been reduced to 43 and 216 respectively. which will result in 267 municipalities in total. This rationalization process has played a very important role in encouraging economic growth, urbanization, the creation of jobs and access to vital municipal services such as houses, roads, water, electricity and transportation.
It is incumbent on the Municipal Demarcation Board to enhance the spirit of the South African Constitution and democracy by allowing an open public involvement in its decision-making processes and its activities. Now, the current board has embarked on an extensive public consultation process, encouraging participation at all levels with various stakeholders, including municipalities at local, district and metropolitan levels, non-statutory and statutory institutions, as well as traditional leaders. And this enables and ensures an open, transparent and accountable process.
In the redetermination case considered by the board affecting the villages of Nkolosa and Kolobi in the Eastern Cape, the community initially traveled distances of about 270 kilometers to access the nearest service center in the region. The redetermination of municipal boundaries from one municipality to another closer municipal area, in this instance, enhanced community access to services.
The reason why we are approaching another municipality is because of the distance. That people here, they are traveling a long distance to go to Amahlati rather than to go to Ntsigayetu.
It makes it impossible for access from one village to the other due to the lack of services provided by the municipality that we currently underneath.
If you travel here to Stadarem, you have to travel almost 230 kilometers to 300 kilometers.
Ibi 25 rand ke ngoku ukusuka apha ezilalini ukuya eCofimvaba. So i-return yakhona iyi-50 rand. Yabe i-40 rand ukusuka eCofimvaba ukuya eKomani. I-return yakhona yabe i-80 rand. I-80 rand ukusuka eKomani ukuya eStadarem. I-return yakhona yabe isithi 160 rand.
It makes a life of our people there to be very difficult, more especially when they request services.
The school is having 585 learners. The services from the Department of Education, we are not getting them well because of the distance.
Ndinabantwana ekhaya endihlala nabo. Kwabo bantwana kukho owashwa ngunina wakhe. Kwanyanzeleka ukuba mandimenzele i-foster. Ndiyenzile i-foster 2004. Ndayolunga 2005. Kwanyanzeleka ukuba 2005 njalo xa kuphela unyaka mandiyoyihlaziya eCumakala.
We're relying on our traditional methods. We're living the old way. We still plow, we suffer the drought, we don't have water.
The school is having JoJo tanks because the municipality is not supplying water.
Akwabilula nalapho. Kwakusuku lokuqala loba ndiye eCumakala. Andizange ndikwazi ukubuya ndibuyele ekhaya. Ndayofuna indawo yolala emapoliseni.
Yes, indeed, and we wrote letters to Demarcation Board, and then Demarcation Board came to us, and then viewed the areas, and then consulted the community.
I remember we went to Lower Nkolosa in a traditional meeting there. We engaged communities there. They said they want to come back to Ntsigayetu.
The Department of Local Government, in its statement of vision and mission, is to effectively support and make sustainable local municipalities so that they will be able to better service the communities.
If we are here in this Ntsigayetu municipality, it is very, very close, and you'll get an access of everything in one place at the same time.
In terms of shopping, they come to Nzikayetu because there's no way out that they can go to Statarem. They come to Nzikayetu Kofuvaba, they come to Tsomo town, is still in Nzikayetu municipality.
Most of the other wards that are situated in our Mazizi Traditional Council have already joined the Nzikayetu, and the services are better there.
We've got hospital facilities, we've got clinic facilities, we've got education facilities, high school, etc. We've got many facilities like home affairs, MPCCs. Those communities are assisted here in our municipality, in Nzikayetu municipality.
There are certain secondary cities within district municipalities that require a review of current categorization definitions. These secondary cities are not big enough to be capable and viable to function fully on their own, and as such are constrained under the current categorization system.
In 2008, the MDB disestablished the district management area comprising the Ismangaliso Estuary Park as well as the Tlutluwe Mfolozi Game Reserve, and Ismangaliso Estuary Park became part of the Mtotoba local municipality. This redetermination received immense support from the affected stakeholders.
The life was so difficult because our municipality was on other side of the Tlutluwe Mfolozi Game Reserve at Tlutluwe Tlabisa.
It was awkward, very cumbersome for the subjects of this Inkosi to go and be subjected to Tlabisa, which is also the name of another Inkosi. But more than that, it was the distance. And therefore, the people at Mtubatuba were not benefiting.
And water, we didn't have water, and we didn't have electricity, and the roads, everything.
The Demarcation Board from Pretoria came here to see what I was talking about. And then when they were here, they agreed with me. That is when it was a turning point.
The Demarcation Board obviously did a study, because they could not just do anything willy-nilly without the study. It's only scientific. And they realized the disparity in the previous decision and then lined it as it is now.
The final outcome was that we were successful. Those wards which were under Tlabisa municipality were taken to Mtubatuba municipality.
As such, we now have 19 wards. And all these wards are within one Inkosi, that is Mkhwanazi.
So we as Mpukunyon, I think we have won a lot to have our own municipality here at Mtubatuba.
It is running better now. All the resources are now together.
The electricity, we do have electricity, we do have roads, we do have houses, RDP. So, bit by bit, we are coming up.
This municipality has got the grader. Sometimes they take the grader to help the people with the roads.
If you come from Tuba, there is a bridge. That bridge has been built since the Demarcation Board has taken us away from Tlabisa and put us on this side.
Tourism-wise, from Tuba, the tourist, it brings tourist attraction, and those tourists spend their money either at Mtuba or St. Lucia.
Okay, in an area like St. Lucia, then you can say virtually every business is reliant on tourism. We are World Heritage Site. The Isimangaliso, the old St. Lucia wetlands, is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, sometimes people get employment from in the park. There are many people here working there.
The work that the locals do in terms of their carvings, the selling of the vegetables, that can be enhanced.
Everybody has an opportunity
to establish a business, either at Mtuba or St. Lucia or even in the rural areas, there is no preclusion. The only thing which can preclude anybody is affordability of anything.
There also continues to be the need to better understand the performance of the municipalities since they were established. And underlying this local government performance are three key interdependent but distinct sets of factors. And the first one really being the context which the municipality finds itself. Secondly, the socio-geographic factors and the legacy factors that constrain the ability of the municipalities to perform one way or the other. And the last but most importantly is the capacity that the municipality employs, which includes resources such as staffing, finances, skills, competences, systems, and procedures, and the leadership behavior of the political heads. In addition to this, the heads of the executive, which play a less measurable but an extremely important and significant role, determine the ability of the municipalities to perform well.
The MDB has been conducting municipal capacity assessments annually since 2001. In 2010, to assess the value and contents of the reports produced by us, we commissioned an evaluation of the reports to determine the value to developmental local government in South Africa. The evaluation was undertaken in order to formulate recommendations for an alternative model, as well as to improve the content of the assessment reports. The result of the change in the assessment model can be seen in the most recent capacity assessment reports, reflecting the assessment for the 2010-2011 municipal financial year.
The Minister for Cooperative Governance publishes in the National Gazette the formula to be used to determine the number of councillors per ward so that the MECs can determine the number of councillors per municipality. Thereafter, the MDB has the sole responsibility to delimit municipal wards. In consultation with the Independent Electoral Commission, the IEC, the MDB determines the boundaries of municipal wards for voting in local elections.
The Independent Electoral Commission has successfully held local government elections since 2000, and I believe this is as a result of the groundwork done by the Municipal Demarcation Board. Unlike previous local elections, the 2011 local government elections were characterized by lively and respectful campaigning, with political parties free to engage with voters in all areas. Now, I believe because of the groundwork we did, voter registration as well as turnout increased from 50% to 57.6%. Needless to say, this was a major improvement. The 2009-2011 ward delimitation process resulted in a total of 4,277 wards, indicating an increase of 10% from the previous cycle. And all metropolitan and local municipalities had wards during the 2011 municipal elections.
In the period of the third board, you would note that it was marked by civic unrest and community protest. And because of this protest, the focus tended to be shifted from the transformation agenda, namely that of racially integrating local government, to that of service delivery by many municipalities. And because of this, as a board, we are aware that not everyone is satisfied with the pace of transformation. And not everyone is actually happy with the performance of their municipalities and the level of service delivery. It is for this reason that many national and provincial government interventions were instituted to ensure that they complement and indeed assist the work of the board in making municipalities much more effective.
The South African Local Government Association, SALGA, provides support and advice and facilitates the transition of restructuring of municipalities. However, many municipalities face financial challenges to implement the restructuring processes. Once the board has set the restructuring of new boundaries into place, SALGA provides support to implement the restructuring on the ground.
Municipal capacity assessment is a product of the board and is also derived from the board's legislative mandate, which is that of rendering advisory services. Clearly, if you compare it to the demarcation programs, the advisory service of the board has not been given that much prominence since the establishment of the institution. It's our view that in future, the advisory services, of which the capacity assessment is the centerpiece, would constitute one of the measure of the board's work. In this way, the board's work would align with the work of the country's national development agenda. This can be achieved by increasing the installed capacity in the areas of local government research.
The MDB has played a vital role in South Africa's young democratic history and has contributed immensely to spatial transformation and reversing the impact of separate, segregated development and race-based settlement patterns. As South Africa boldly faces the future challenges of global economic shifts, technology, globalization, climate change, and African economic growth, the MDB continues to strive for a cohesive, integrated, sustainable, and viable system of defining boundaries for effective local government.